Hi, hello, happy new year. Welcome to my channel. My name's Courtney. You can call me Quartz, and it is not your fault that you didn't understand the genius that is Saltburn. Saltburn is a visceral gothic tale, a vampire movie, if you will, following protagonist or antagonist Oliver Quick through his first year at Oxford University. He quickly becomes infatuated with an aristocratic, charming classmate and the wealthy family that he heirs from. With themes of obsession, class disparity, power, privilege, the audience is lured into the world of Saltburn. This movie had such a captivating blend of visuals, atmosphere, tropes for characters, and a plot looming with impending doom. Saltburn just evokes this essence of a classic gothic novel, which in my opinion makes it a must-watch for anybody who appreciates that type of literary genre. Like this video, subscribe to my channel. I'm getting over some sort of viral sinus, infection. So I'm a little disgusting at the moment. But we're here and we're excited. It's the new year and we're talking about a fantastic movie. So give me a big thumbs up and let's just jump right into it. I have about 5 pages of notes on this movie and I could honestly continue, but I had to stop myself. I could have just gone on and on with my research and written a full 25-page essay. And if I had the capacity to make this a longer video, you bet I would have. So, starring Barry Keoghan and Jacob Elordi, written and directed by Emerald Fennell, as I've recently found out is pronounced Emerald Fennell. So go off, Fennell. Saltburn follows a first-year student at Oxford University who finds himself drawn into the world of a charming and aristocratic classmate who invites him into his eccentric family estate, Saltburn, for the summer, a summer that will never be forgotten. Set in the early 2000s, the film is encapsulated by pop culture references. If you know, you know. References in music, props, wardrobe. Interestingly, it does not clash with the abundance of art and literary references made to hone in on the gothic tone of the film. This movie may have reminded you of 1999's The Talented Mr. Ripley starring Matt Damon and Jude Law. However, director Emerald Fennell pulled most of her inspiration from the 1945 novel Brideshead Revisited, which has officially made it on my Goodreads reading list. She even requested that Barry Keoghan read it as a way of preparing for his role of Oliver Quick. Brideshead Revisited similarly follows the life and romances of a queer protagonist that falls in a relationship with a family of wealthy English Catholics. And these wealthy English Catholics happen to live in a palatial mansion known as Brideshead Castle. So to keep it as concise as possible, we're gonna be looking at this through the lens of Oliver. As if the title cards weren't enough of a signal to the film's gothic nature, it is through this that Emerald Fennell tells the audience that the story is about Oliver's rise to royalty. Through the gorgeous hand-drawn letters spelling out Saltburn in the title sequence, we are hearing Zodak the Priest, which might have gone missed had you known that this was a coronation anthem written for King George II in 1727. But Fennell confirmed this on Twitter, noting that when the title appears, the choir doesn't sing Zadok the Priest, but Oliver Quick. So long live the king. It doesn't immediately become clear that Oliver, though, is a wolf in sheep's clothing until closer to the third act, or rather, a minotaur. Oliver evolves from a nerdy outcast trope into one of the cool kids shortly after he orchestrates his meet-cute with Felix Catton. We see this primarily through wardrobe. Almost instantly after his first interaction with Felix, Oliver ditches his glasses and changes his hair, changes his clothes to a little bit more cool and casual to fit in. For the majority of the film, we are under the assumption that there is some unquenchable desire that Oliver has for Felix, and the film alludes to this physical attraction as Oliver's primary motivation to surround himself with Felix. But he even goes so far as to lie about his own family circumstances, including the death of his father, as a way to gain sympathy over Felix and bring them closer together. I must say, I was under the impression that the climax of this film would be the two of them climaxing. Boy, was I wrong. Pitying him, though, Felix offers Oliver a tribute to his late father in the form of a pebble, which is one of the first powerful bits of foreshadowing in the film, as he throws the pebble with his father's name on it into a canal, and it doesn't sink, but it lands in a pile of vomit, illustrating that his dad wasn't dead. And we are recalled to this moment at the end of the movie. In the very last scene, Oliver has the Catton family pebbles lined up on top of the dancing marionettes further highlighting his role as the puppet master, now that they are all dead and gone. It's because of this white lie, this little white lie, that Felix is inclined to invite Oliver to his family estate in the first place, which brings us to Saltburn. So upon his arrival, the film fully leans into its gothic spirit as we meet the spirit of Saltburn itself, which is Duncan. In their initial meeting, Duncan is able to dominate Oliver through his dialogue in critiquing Oliver's early arrival, but it doesn't go quickly forgotten by Oliver. We are welcomed by this looming creature, almost like a vampire himself, framed by these grand archways and heavy doors, draped in dark and golden light. It's this sense that things are not well. And Emerald Fennell has said that Duncan is quite literally the spirit of the house embodied. And so I think it'll be really interesting to go back and watch his character through that lens.
Mr. Quick, you're early.
I've got the earlier train.
Well, do let us know next time. You see, the gates were not open.
That's okay.
We'd sent someone to pick you up.
Oh, sorry.
It was very hard to find Duncan. Duncan is the butler at Saltburn, and he is its sort of spirit.
One of my favorite scenes is the tour that Felix initially gives Oliver. As we all know, it is the exact mirror to the last scene in the movie. Yes, the iconic dance scene. What I love about the initial tour given by Felix is that despite all of the beautiful and fanciful things in the estate, our focus is solely on Felix. It's as if we were watching through the eyes of Oliver, who clearly sees Felix as the most beautiful thing in any room. Having arrived at Saltburn, it is here that Oliver begins to assert his power into the family. Now, he does this in many ways throughout the film to each member of the Keoghan family. The only time that I recall Oliver flexing his dominance over the patriarch of the family, Sir James, is at the end when he asks Oliver to leave the estate so that they can grieve the loss of their children in privacy. And Oliver simply is asked to name his price, and you bet he does, because what does he do? He leaves. We see it again with Felix's mother, Epsith, played by Rosamund Pike. Oliver mentions how it must be so hard for Venetia, her daughter, to grow up having such a beautiful mother. To which Epsith doesn't give him much more than an eye roll, but Oliver is calculated, and on some level, this is probably what caused Epsith to take such a liking to him, because he spoke her nonsense language and he completely disguised himself as one of their own. But speaking of Venetia, Oliver seems to take quite the liking to her with the notorious vampire scene.
It's not the right time of the month.
Is there something you think I'm worried about? It's lucky for you, I'm a vampire.
However, we realize that this is another tactic to intercept the minds of each member of the family by seeming as harmless and inviting as possible. Maybe even desirable. And it worked, because once Cousin Farley tattles on Oliver to Felix, it's the first time that we see Felix really upset and almost jealous. I keep thinking about how Farley had the perfect view of them in the courtyard, and it definitely seems like another calculated move by Oliver. But ultimately, Felix is the most integral tie to the family, and if he doesn't have a solid connection with Felix, then he doesn't have a chance at inserting himself into the estate. So Oliver ends his flirtation with Venetia. From the very first breakfast that he shares with the Keoghan family, Oliver orders fried eggs over easy. Now, me and my boyfriend, who is a chef, had the biggest discussion over these eggs. The eggs are very important. So Oliver orders fried over easy eggs. Okay? Fried over easy eggs. You got it. Duncan, the butler, serves him what are clearly sunny side eggs. Any good guest might ignore this mishap upon your first breakfast, but instead, Oliver throws the wool on and sheepishly says that runny eggs make him sick to his stomach, which is a small little flex over Duncan, simply because Oliver saw this as the perfect opportunity to remind him of his place. Oh, mate, you're just the butler. You're just the butler, and I like my eggs fried over easy. Arguably, the only people who see Oliver for what he truly is Duncan, the butler, and his first friend at Oxford, who I believe was named Michael, Farley, and Venetia before her untimely demise. But it is Michael who calls Oliver out first when he mumbles the term bootlicker, essentially calling him a big fat mooch. A big fat mooch on rich people. Farley attempts to take Oliver out of the equation multiple times, but unfortunately to no success. He's playing checkers when Oliver's kind of playing chess. Not to say that Oliver doesn't struggle with this domination over Farley. He even takes it to a questionable place when he attempts to seduce Farley to behave, a tactic that previously had worked on Venetia. Let's go back to Venetia for a second, okay? Venetia and her untimely demise. As we know, Oliver is guilty of killing most members of the Catton family, but with Venetia, it's unclear if she took her own life on purpose or if Oliver had strategically placed the razor blades by the bathtub and it was all just an accident. So let me know what you think about that in the comments. I know there was some discourse online about it. But the most beautiful moment of foreshadowing her death comes after Felix has just been found dead. The whole family is sitting down for lunch and we see Venetia overpouring her cup of wine just as the room is completely bathed in red light from the curtains, hinting at a bloodbath which is to come. Red light is so widely used in cinema to signal that something more sinister is about to occur. It's like a secret being whispered to the audience, only for those who know where to look. Anytime we see red light in this movie, it is hinting that something volatile is about to happen. But upon spending more time in the house, Oliver discovers the maze, one small replica overlooking the actual maze that immediately alludes us to Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. We also get a nod to The Shining during the tour of the house as we pass from room to room. The maze represents descent into madness, like we've seen in The Shining, but unlike Jack, madness is innate to Oliver already. It's not something that he has to descend into, it's something that already exists within him. Emerald Fennell has noted that embedded in the maze design is two paths, one being the impossible honest route and the other indicating a cheater's route. I just said that with two different accents. Route or route, what do you say? Let me know. It is up to the audience though to decide which path Oliver inevitably takes. Did he take the easy way or did he take the hard way? It's really up for debate. At the center of the maze though is a giant Minotaur statue built as an exact replica of Barry Keoghan, who plays Oliver. So it's very clear that he represents the Minotaur. The Minotaur and the maze are a nod to a Greek myth, King Minos and the Minotaur, which follows a man-turned-monster and is ultimately confined to a labyrinth. Oliver is likened to the Minotaur several times in the film by use of his shadow, the antlers that he wears on his birthday party, but Oliver's obsession for lust and Felix and his lifestyle only intensifies when he arrives at Saltburn. This yearning takes a dark turn during the infamous bathtub scene, which Oliver hears Felix pleasuring himself in the tub, and once he has a moment of privacy, he proceeds to slurp up the remaining bathwater and essentially rimming the drain, which is the most ghastly part to watch. This is another demonstration of his desperation and unquenched desire. Also, send me your Jacob Elordi bathwater cocktail recipes because how fun. We see this again after he has killed Felix, scene in which Oliver embarks in coitus with his dead friend's grave. Not only shows us that his physical desire remains unquenched, but also that he potentially feels some sense of remorse or guilt or grief. Interestingly though, this is the scene that was improvised by Barry Keoghan. It was his idea to close the set and to see where his body took him. And his body took him to a place nobody, I think, could predict. But I think Barry understood the power and demonstration by taking the scene to a whole other level of desperation and grief. And it really just highlights the madness that we talked about, yeah. But of course, it isn't until Oliver's birthday party in which Felix surprises Oliver by taking him to his hometown, reconnect with his mother after the loss of his father, revealing the truth behind Oliver's lies. AKA, his father hadn't died, he was perfectly well, and Oliver comes from an arguably upper middle class family after having previously implied that he grew up poor with an alcoholic mother. Some massively twisted things to lie about, and as a first-time viewer, this was the real moment that I realized Oliver had to be the antagonist, because you know, you're not really sure. You're watching and you're like, I want to be rooting for you. Am I rooting for you? Wait, this is kind of messed up, but you're the victim, right? Like, they're all gonna try and eat you or something. Is that what's happening? No. That was the first moment that I accepted, wow, he's really, like, it takes a terrible person to lie about your family being dead. To say that Felix felt the same, as he immediately insisted that Oliver leave Saltburn as soon as his birthday party was over, essentially marking the end of their friendship and leaving Oliver with one last opportunity to strike. So by the finale, it's revealed that Oliver had plotted every step of his ambitious endeavor, dedicating himself to the long game and snatching the Catton family estate. When it comes to Felix, I think of his character as a closeted gay man who always had a new toy, like Oliver, to play with over summer vacation, which is ultimately what made Felix the perfect choice for Oliver. He's wealthy, closeted, and vulnerable. The Greek myth Icarus, having flown too close to the sun, Emerald actually demonstrated that simply with the angel wings the night of his death at the birthday party that he wears. She also does this several times throughout the movie, using angelic silhouetted lighting around Felix. I think also this signals to him being actually just a pure person. I think that their connection was real, but Oliver's desire for wealth was stronger than his desire for Felix. And being close to him, he wanted to become him, like crawl inside his skin and embody that careless, handsome, charming, wealthy, beautiful person. Like this video, subscribe to my channel. I'm a growing creator and a budding filmmaker. I could really use your love and support, so give me a big thumbs up if you like this video. Leave me your comments, thoughts, opinions, anything that I might have missed out that was integral to this movie. Every frame, every line, every piece of music, every set and prop used in this movie was used with intention, which just makes my little cinema girly heart burn and yearn. And as for Oliver Quick, much like a minotaur in a labyrinth, at his core, he is a monster. He said it himself.
It's lucky for you, I'm a vampire.
Long live the king.